What's up, everybody? Welcome back to HOA MMA. AJ, welcome back. Let's get right into it. How was your trip? Give us a little bit of a rundown on how your vacation/holiday was, as you guys like to say.
It was great. I mean, exactly what I needed. Just sometimes you just need a break. You kind of just need to get away just from daily life. I'm very brown. Like, I
Yeah,
caught a mad tan out there, bro.
you look
Um,
great.
Thank you, man. Like, Barcelona was beautiful. Like, very beautiful city, beautiful women. There was like just like stuff to do. Just like seeing everything around there, like the beach, just going around the town, seeing all the tourist sites. Um, it was great. It was very relaxing. Even when I was out there, I was watching the Wimbledon final, Alcaraz against Djokovic. Crazy. Like
High level tennis.
that was
Incredible.
that was something really really special to watch. To watch him win in his country when like all like when because we found like a local bar, just
Mhm.
like it was very much like amongst the locals, like whereabouts me and my friends were staying. It's very much just like amongst like the local area. Wasn't around like that much like tourists and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're watching the match, and early on you think, oh, like Djokovic is literally just cooking him. Like he's kind of
I
taking,
mean,
he's
after he
putting it
went
on.
6-1, he went 6-1 in the first set, and I was like, holy shit! Like I just
Yeah,
thought he was all. I just thought he had it that day, and then the comeback from Alcaraz was phenomenal.
incredible. And just watching it there and to see like atmosphere and people like reacting to it was like something that was probably like my highlight, really. Like that
Yeah,
was really great to see. And I saw this stat, and since Alvarez is only 20, only 4 people have won Wimbledon since he was born. Jock, Nadal, Federer, Murray. That's crazy.
hasn't Murray only won it twice out of there too, or did he only
Twice,
win
yeah.
it once? Yeah, or it's twice.
Um,
Yeah,
2013 and 2016. He was the last
yeah.
person to he was the last person to beat Djokovic at Wimbledon until obviously last weekend.
That was. I mean, and what's crazy is I'm gonna give both guys credit. Alcaraz, just insane. He's 20. He's 20,
He
and like Djokovic is literally the best player in the world, and he's like keeping up with a 20-year-old at both sides of the coin. It's just such an incredible feat for both guys. Like, and the fact that Alcaraz was able to jump back after he got beat in the last final, coming back to beat Joker this time, what an accomplishment. Just, I mean, this kid's 20 and he's already got 2 majors. We could be looking at another guy who's knocking down the door of the low 20s to get to the mid 20s because he's got so much time. So his
he's
career is going to be incredible to follow.
he's definitely out of everyone right now in tennis. Like he's basically got next. Like he's
Oh,
basically the
easily.
next easily. Just
He's so much better than everybody not named Joker. In my like right now, he's so much better than everybody not named Joker. His
and this
style of
could
tennis is just it's such a mix of the big three. Like he does a little bit of everything that those guys do, and he does it at such a young age already. It's so impressive.
like I was speaking to someone in the bar there, and he said as much he reminds him of Rafa, which obviously you can see
Yeah,
on grass, he looks like Federer a lot, like when Federer is like at his apex, and that is a scary combination. That's a scary combination to have.
and he
And
moves like Djokovic. Like like that's what I mean is he's got parts of the big three. And is his coach Del Potro or who's
I
his
think
coach?
so.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
and you got to remember when Juan got really good for a couple years there, and he was hitting that just extremely heavy serve. Like,
I remember. I
he's got a
remember.
guy. He's got a guy who's been there too.
I forgot one. I think it was 2012 in the US Open final. I forgot who he was facing against, and he looked. That was him at his peak. Del Potro at
I
his
think he
peak.
either beat Roger or Rafa, I believe. He
Yeah, and
smoked him. He smoked him that
he,
time.
he had one of the best final performances in a Grand Slam that I've ever seen. But yeah, Barcelona was incredible. The good thing about Barcelona as well is like it's easy to travel around there. Like they're like they have like a metro line. It's
Mhm.
so it's so like well like run. Like it's very very smooth to get around. And I don't know if you have this around where you are, but they have a lot of e-bikes, so you can literally just rent a bike. It is a It is a electric bike. You can rent it. It's for, I think, for every 4 minutes, it costs roughly around like €1, and you can just like cycle around it. And me and my friends did that quite a bit. We did that along the beach, did it through the town, just like zooming around everywhere. It was just, you kind of get like, you could kind of appreciate just like seeing like the city, and like it's like it's architecture a lot. It was great, and the food is great. I had a lot of tapas, man. I had a lot of tapas, like great food. But it was fun. It was very fun, and in like really, really nice heat as well. So, but I'm glad to be back, and we have a lot to talk about, but a lot has happened in the past week and a half. So let's get to it, man.
Okay, so glad you're back. Glad you enjoyed your trip. Obviously, that's incredible that you got to visit Spain. Especially at that time, during Wimbledon. That's such a cool thing. Like, kind of a dream there. Let's jump into something that's come up recently. Micheal Venom Page is now a free agent. Obviously, he has the option to go back to Bellator. He could join the Pro Fight League. He could join the UFC, which I think is intriguing in terms of probably not titles, but just matchups. He could have a lot of fun there. Because we do mainly UFC, where would you like to see him go, and who would you like to see him fight first?
Well, I'm just going to keep it purely within the UFC because, as we both know, in terms of matchups, that has the most potential for him. I just want to say this: I've seen Micheal Venom Page in person. I bumped into him at a festival once. I literally just said hi. He was coming out the festival. He was talking to some people. I was just walking down. I said, "Are you MVP?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Look, I'm just a big fan of you. Like, good luck in your next fight." I didn't know that was 2 weeks afterwards. It announced he was going to fight Mike Perry in bare knuckle. He's huge. Like, he's massive. Like, you think someone like him is quite lean. When you see him in person, especially when he's obviously not cutting weight, he's not only tall, but he's like massive. Like, it's crazy to think he's only at 170 pounds. But he's actually a really nice guy as well. He's really polite as well. For me, there are three people that I would like him to see to fight, and probably the three people who'd obviously make the most sense. Third, I've got Michel Pereira, because you've got him who will literally stand and fight you. They both have unique styles of striking. Let's just put it that way, and those kind of blends would obviously go really, really well together. And obviously Michel Pereira is someone who would actually come forward and come running in, and that can like suit Micheal Venom Page. But again, because Pereira is so unpredictable as well, it could really make a very intriguing chess match as well. Just kind of see how that fight plays out. My second one on my list is our guy, Mr. Kevin Holland. You know what Kevin's all about. He's literally all action. He will stand there and fight. Even though Kevin has a really good ground game, he will want to go out there and be like, I want to see how good my strike is against some MVP. That'll be a very fan friendly fight. Right. And the fight I really want to see the most, if he was to sign with the UFC, which I think is most people's choice, is Wonder Boy. You got two elite kickboxers, like at the highest level. Like, them two are literally, like, in terms of like kickboxing and striking, like from a technical standpoint, you can't get much better than that. That fight, it would be just a very, very fun matchup to see.
You picked literally the perfect three for him. I wouldn't really put him with like one of the prospects like Gary or anybody like that. But if it was me, I would book him and Holland to open a pay-per-view card right when you sign him, because Kevin Holland will do it with no problem, and it's a hell of a way to introduce a new guy into your organization by you get the PR rub from Holland, and then if you can beat our guy Kevin Holland, that's a great win to start your career, and that could be a big win for Kevin Holland also. So it's a two-sided attack there, but I would like to see him fight Kevin Holland the most for those type of reasons. The build up to the fight, the word exchanges, and just the interactions. I think with those two guys would be a lot of fun. I'm hoping he signs with the UFC. Again, I don't think he could be a title contender there, but I do think he could come in and have some really exciting fights. You just named 3 really good fights, and none of them have anything to do with the title, really. So I think that part of his career is probably past him, but fun fights where you get to see him be dynamic, totally possible.
Yeah.
Some more news that just came out recently. Dricus du Plessis is obviously has an injury, so and that turnover to get him to Sydney would have just been unfair. I mean, to be realistic, it would have been unfair to him not fight at 100% against Izzy. So we're potentially getting Sean Strickland versus Izzy at UFC 293 in Sydney. In the octagon, I don't think it's all that exciting, but we're going to get to hear Sean Strickland say a bunch of dumb shit, and Izzy's going to be able to respond. At least now they're actually like facing each other, so when they're saying stupid stuff to each other, we're at least headed somewhere. So tell me what your thoughts are on that fight.
We're going to get the most chaotic press conference since Diaz Hamzat, or maybe even Conor Khabib. It's just going to be pure chaos because, you know, Sean Strickland has no filter, like zero filter. And you can tell in the press conference with Izzy against Cannonier, when obviously they had, you know, Pereira and Sean Strickland on that main card. Strickland was kind of getting under Izzy's skin a little bit at times, right? Because Sean Strickland just doesn't care. He was willing to say anything. Yeah, you could say anything to him, and he probably wouldn't give a fuck, right?
Right.
Whereas if you're looking at it on paper, seeing if you see what Alex did to him, and you look at Izzy's kind of like skill set as well, the fight's not going to be close because I don't believe someone who will. Sean Strickland's strengths are his jab and his work rate. He'll just pour it on you, and he kind of like drowns people. I can't see anyone doing that to someone as good as Izzy. Like when it comes to striking, he's just too good. Like he's just too technical. He's too skilled. Like it takes someone like Alex Pereira who can match him in that area to really give him a hard fight.
Or it's having somebody like Jan who can tackle him and at least wear on him, and that's not Sean Strickland either.
Exactly. So it's kind of a shame because, you know, after Dricus had his biggest win ever, big win against Rob, that fight was going to be huge. That fight's probably still there, maybe eventually, depending on how long obviously Dricus is out.
UFC 300.
Man.
Yeah. Man. It's got to be.
It's funny you say that. Because I've got something to say about that later on.
All right, go ahead. Keep going.
But it's gonna be one of those ones where probably like the build up is gonna be a bit more exciting than the actual fight if it does go ahead. But I can't lie. A part of me does want to see what shit Strickland comes out with because you just don't know.
That's the thing is like Izzy's got to reconsider, like for this build up, he's got to consider who he's talking to. Like he's got to like let some of these stupid comments just go because
over the head.
Sean doesn't care. He's just gonna say anything just to bother you. Like
I know
the stupid stuff about anime and stuff. Like it shouldn't bother you. Like it just, but that's what Sean wants to do.
To be fair, it's 2023. Like who cares if you watch anime? Look, we watch anime.
That's why Izzy shouldn't care. That's why Izzy shouldn't care. Yeah.
But I do find it funny to go from an unranked fighter to now having a title shot is fucking insane. Yeah, but it only happens. But it happens. Life happens in the UFC sometimes. But that to me is wild. That to me is wild. But then again, Izzy's cleaned out everyone else out. Everyone else above ranked one Strickland, Izzy's beaten like handedly. So when you are like a very dominant champion, sometimes these things happen.
So what are you gonna do when Sean starts hitting 3 or 4 jabs in a row? And he's just finding the mark. There's just on Izzy, you can't string together jabs. Like it just doesn't work that way. And
there's a there's a better chance of the Washington Wizards making the Eastern Conference Finals next season than that probably happening.
I've heard good things about Johnny Davis, so watch out. No, you're right. I just think it's just going to be entertaining. It's going to be less entertaining than the Octagon. In the Octagon, more than likely. You saw what happened when Sean stood with Pereira. It's going to be very similar. If not, Izzy might try to get him out of there faster because he's irritated with stuff Sean said in the build-up. So anything else in the news that's jumped around recently before we get into last weekend's fight night?
Well, some of the stuff I'm gonna leave, like just towards the end. But I know that we got Islam against Charles too. That's just been announced.
Charles doesn't want to fight him, so I don't know why this is happening.
I mean, to be fair, there's like no one else for Islam to fight. Islam saying he wants to fight like Leon doesn't make sense to be honest. Obviously, folks having like surgery. Yep. Dustin and Gaethje are going to beat the shit out of each other next week, most basically likely. So, but to be fair, if you get a chance to fight for the title, you can't really say no to it because you don't know when those chances will come back again.
But he's turned it down a couple times. Like I don't understand Charles at all. Like when he gets in there and fights, it's a totally different thing. But him outside the octagon, I don't get it. He's an interesting guy.
It's very clear he had a bad experience fighting over there last time. And I'm not just talking about in the cage, probably his whole time there. He probably just didn't have a good time fighting in someone else's turf. Like, let's be real. Whenever people go to when you go to Abu Dhabi, it is literally Islam's realm. That's fine, and that's great because we know that the UFC can't have fights in Russia, and we all know the reasons why for that. And to be fair, like every fight should feel like they should be able to fight, amongst like their own people, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's very clear for Charles, he probably didn't have the best experience there, and that's probably why he's so hesitant. And also, when the fight happened, he literally got dog walked. He got dog walked last time, and that's come someone who's a big fan of him. So he's probably a bit hesitant to be like, do you know what? Even though I do want to get the belt back, the last time I went over there, I probably didn't have the best time there, and when I faced against him, he pretty much toyed with me, but who knows, man? Dubonks has a massive chance out there to kind of go go back there and right that wrong, but who knows? And two of your favorite people are fighting the co-men. You got Hamzat finally not being on Twitter anymore, calling everyone out against your guy, Mr. Secret Juice himself, Paulo Costa.
Paulo Costa, he is the least trustworthy person in the world. There's probably 6 contracts on his kitchen table that are unsigned for fights that have already passed. I can't, until they're in the ring together, I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't believe it.
That press conference with them two is going to be fucking hilarious. It's going to be hilarious.
Over under 3 buttons on Costa's button up, actually buttoned. Over under.
Under.
It's gonna be a lot of chess. So what's your bet right now?
Under.
If he goes
over there,
he might even wear a shirt. There might not be a button.
Do you not know how hot it is over there, bro? Nah, man. Under.
Okay, we're going under on buttons for Costa's shirt. No, that's very exciting stuff. Hopefully we can get them in the ring because I don't trust either one of them. Let's jump into last week's fight night. We're just going to go into the highs and lows. I got to be honest with you. A low for me was Jack. I mean, right off the bat, I thought he lost the fight. He was very lucky to get out of there with a split decision. Basil Hafez is a tough fighter. I know a lot of guys that he has trained with were putting him over through Twitter and stuff like that. He gave Jack every problem possible throughout that fight. I mean, he snuck out of there with a win, but I'm going to consider that a low. I don't think you can put him with a wrestler going forward because they clearly see what they can do if they get to his legs. So I had that as a low for sure. Any other lows on the card for you? I know you were busy on vacation. I didn't know if you got to catch any of the other stuff. Any lows for you before I get into my highs?
I did manage to watch some of it. I didn't watch the whole card, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no,
Because
you're on vacation. Don't worry about it.
I kind of watched what I could, especially when I came back as well this week. I want to piggyback on what he said about Jack. He did. I do kind of give Fires a benefit of the doubt when they have to cut weight twice, like in a very short period of time. Don't honestly get me wrong. Baz looked good. Baz looked like he came out and gave Jack hell. But I do kind of give fighters a little bit of leeway. Okay, I get if you're like a bit flat, if you have to cut weight twice. We saw that with Siratara. He was cutting weight. His fight got called off. He got moved on to the last pay-per-view event, and even though he did win the fight, there were times where he wasn't his usual self. Sometimes cutting weight a lot does kind of play into it. But again, Jack.
But Basil jumped off the couch and started fighting too, though. I mean, to be fair.
Of course. And that's obviously very fair. And I feel like with Jack, he has probably got away with it there a little bit. And for someone who's seen as a very highly touted prospect, I feel like moving forward, he kind of needs to address that area in his game, as you said. If he fights against someone like Belal, right? Belal Burns, even someone like Michael Chiesa, who are wrestle heavy guys.
You can't put him.
Yeah, they're gonna look and thinking, I'm literally gonna go for that double leg. And if they get you, and if those people get you down, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble because as much as he's great, in terms of his boxing, this is MMA, and you need to be prepared for everything. So I kind of feel like maybe moving forward, maybe when he does have to cut that much weight a lot, he may be a bit more prepared for it. Because we've seen against Randy Brown, he can actually grapple. He can get subs up. But I just want to kind of just to say that a low for mine was Holly Holm. Holly Holm looked very much every bit of 41 years old.
I actually have her lost in my highs. We don't have to worry about her being on main event anymore. That's a high for me. I'm over it. 41.
I have the five high because obviously Buena looked great. She looked great,
awesome.
And
we got a new contender.
If someone says if you base off being Holly Holm a staple of the bantamweight division, she's probably a fight away from the title now at this point. And this is something what bantamweight needs. They desperately need new people, especially with Amanda Nunes gone. There isn't anyone who really who kind of sets the world on fire, right? And her making a performance like that is a good step in that kind of direction. A high for me was actually I have two highs to kind of follow on from that. Hart looked great. Hart looked good.
He's on my eyes. The Iron Turtle. The Iron Turtle. What a cool name.
Mean sub, man. Mean sub, bro.
His hands are nice. His submissions are nice. That dude's a player. If he keeps it better.
And he's tough.
He took some punishment too. Dude, that guy could be a player going forward. I really like the Iron Turtle.
Same man.
Keep going. I just had to piggyback on it.
My other high is Prado. Prado had a mean KO, man. Mean KO. Like I said, I haven't seen the whole of the facts, so maybe the context of it all. I probably don't have the knowledge of, but he looked good. And one more thing for me, this isn't. I wouldn't say it's a low, but a bit more of a damp squib. I felt bad for Tex McKinney because clearly the other guy grabbed the fence
multiple times. He did it multiple times.
I feel kind of bad for him. I felt bad for him in a sense because
I think at this point we've given the judges too much leeway. because it's happened. It's happened with her being before. It's a warning. It's a warning. It's a warning. No, that's an advantage. Like that's leverage. That's everything in a fight with your toes in the cage, your fingers in the cage, and it happened more than once, and it definitely shifted the fight, and it put Terrence at a clear disadvantage. So he tweeted out, he showed the footage. And I tweeted, I was like, Terrence, I'm with you, man. You got screwed over here, and the ref did not do his job when clearly you were getting a disadvantage. So I'm with you on that a lot. That really sucked for him.
Yeah.
Because I one more loss or this loss, Terrence could be out of a job. Like I mean, that's just the realisticness of where he's at on the card and everything. I mean, lightweight's pretty crowded, so that's the kind of thing that could get you. I mean, you could get let go of after something like that. It could possibly be because the ref isn't doing his job the correct way.
Because it's very easy, like it's like it's very easy to go on like a good streak of like wins as it is to go on a bad streak of losses. Yeah. This is someone who has a lot of talent, even though he's very explosive and probably first round heavy. But when you go out there on your UFC debut and knock out someone, he knocked up Matt Favola in 7 seconds. Starch him. First round finishes all across the board. He nearly knocked up Drew Dober in the first round before Drew Dober came back and beat him on a very short notice fight. He's coming off a really bad KO loss, and to kind of come back and have this happen to him, his confidence is probably a little bit shot. And this is someone who has a lot of talent, but again, the fight game's rough sometimes, and things like this can really affect someone's career moving forward. But let's just hope that he can kind of bounce back from it, because he is someone who's very, very fun to see, and could really be in the mix potentially if he can kind of get can go on a run. But it's a shame. It's a shame for him. It sucks.
Totally with you. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was. So, but seriously, shout out to Bueno Silva. She's got a lot of skills. She looked good on the feet. And that choke that she put on, that I know that they called it like a rear naked, but it was, that was very, very high level stuff.
It's one of those. It's one of those chokes where it's easy to see and see it coming, but then once it gets synced in, that's it. There is no getting out of basically those chokes. So it was very, very impressive from her. Very, very impressive.
And with the belt being available, I mean, she might have just worked her way into a title shot. I mean, beating the main event Reaper and Holly Holm, that gets you close to a title shot, at least in my opinion. But yeah, we've touched on the fight night with Holm and Silva. Let's move on to the return of Tom Aspinall. How do you feel about your guy being back?
I'm very glad that he's back. It doesn't feel like it's been over a year.
It doesn't really.
Yeah, it's kind of just flown by. It's good to see him back. He's kind of needed as well right now, because you always got a heavyweight. You've obviously got the GOAT fighting against the heavyweight GOAT. And then below you've kind of got, in my opinion, you've probably got 4 guys who are probably the guys who are who kind of represent the new breed of heavyweights. You've got obviously Sergei Pavlovich. He's kind of separate himself out of the pack in terms of right now, because he's been on incredible form, incredible puncher, major, a lot of power in his hands, mean, very, very, very good boxing. He can also grapple as well. If you look at his background, you've always got Garn. I know a lot of people are down on Garn, but he's still one of the most talented strikers out there. His movement, he moves. He literally moves he basically moves like a middleweight. Great in and out. Very, very slick striking. Amazing to see. He's literally just definition of a freak athlete in a way. You've got obviously Jalton Almeida, crazy. His game is crazy, because he has great hands and he has mean grappling. And then you've got Tom, who's Tom for me is a mix of all 3 in a way. He has really good boxing, he has really good speed and movement, and also he can grapple, and he has power in his hands.
Yeah.
If he really lets it fly, he can kind of hurt you. So you've kind of got those four guys kind of like jostling for, you know, they're going to be like the next guy, because, you know, we already know like as great as John is, John's probably not going to be around for like too long, and we know that Stipe is probably going to retire after this fight, regardless if he wins or loses, right? Because he's what, 40, 41? He's not most likely he's probably not going to stay around like to fight against these guys. So you kind of got these four guys kind of like really trying to like fight for, you know, when everything kind of like clears and those guys kind of like move on, I'm next. I'm going to be the next great heavyweight. So it's really good to see him back amongst that mix. But he has to win on Saturday. He has to win on Saturday.
They gave him a tough fight to get back in there. They gave him a tough one to get back in there.
They gave him a tough one, but I'm very, very happy that obviously he's back, because he when he's on, he's fucking incredible. He's he's incredible.
So yeah, guys, UFC Fight Night London obviously is back. AJ, before we get into the main card, go ahead and touch on a couple prelims you're excited to watch, and then we'll go and jump into the main card. We talked about off camera Davey Grant. I thought he should have been on the main card. He's been a guy you've been pointing at for a while. Go ahead and give me a little bit on his opponent, Daniel Marcos versus Davey Grant, as the prelim main event, however you want to word it.
Marcos is good because if you are in the UFC as an undefeated bantamweight, considering how stacked 135 is across the sport, that shows that you must be fucking legit. You must be like legit. And David Grant is no layup. Is no layup. Like David Grant, like in every fight, he comes out to fight. I remember when he fought Chito Vera, he fought him to a really, really close one. Like it was, I think it was 2-1, and it could have gone either way. David Grant has mean power in his hands. Like when he throws, he throws with real menace. He has that little combination when he kind of like dips into the body and then follows it up with the left hook and just picks people out. I remember when he beat Joseph Martinez with that, literally just like put him out. Recently against Assunção, basically retired Assunção with a invade triangle hop choke, which is my submission of the year so far.
It was disgusting.
It was nuts. In a fight that he was losing, like he needed to win the fight. He had to win after when he got doctor points. So obviously that fight is going to be incredible. That one's going to be a fun one. I have a few fights on the prelims, because this prelims is pretty stacked up. I don't want to sound biased because, you know, it's in London, you know, hometown and all of that. Program fights that I know a lot of. But we've got Mark Casey against Alvarez. This fight could be very, very fun in the sense of, you know, Mark recently has been very like safety first, very like grapple heavy. Whereas if you followed him, he like when he first came out, he was a very dynamic kickboxer, like very flashy. But he's kind of gone away from that to kind of be like, okay, you know, all I want to do is win. I want to make sure that I win. I don't want to kind of put myself out there to risk losing, because kind of getting like grappled, kind of getting like out grappled by obviously much better grapplers. So he's kind of well running out his game. But again, like Alvarez, who all his wins are finishes, and he has a lot. He has a lot of subs. Like he's good. Like he's literally all action. And that fight, you know, because considering the threat that Alvarez has on the ground, if he kind of makes Mark be like, okay, cool, I want to keep it on the feet, and I'm going to go back to my roots in a sense. This fight could be a really, really fun one. Yeah. We also got Danny Roberts on it as well. Someone that I kind of have a lot of like affinity with, because we're both actually Guyanese. We both have like Guyanese roots, so always have to like, you know, like root over for my people there. he's basically never in a boring fight. He's basically either the one who's going to knock you out, or he's the one he's the one who's going to get laid out himself. And he's facing against a guy called, and wait for it, his nickname is the Sluggernaut. So you already know what's going to go down with that. Like it's just going to be straight out. Them two are going to meet in the pocket and throw down.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got this one is my dark horse for a dark horse for fight of the night. Chris Duncan against Ashmood. Chris Duncan fought in London on the last card, and he had that really like back and forth fight. And so did Ashmood. I think you remember this. He's the one who flatlined Patterson like in the first round, literally just starched him.
Yeah, I remember.
And Duncan is someone who isn't afraid to, trust his chin. That may not be the best thing to do against this guy, but that fight could be very, very interesting. So those are those are my picks for a very, very good prelim. Especially for like a fight night. This is a really good prelim.
Yeah, no. Thank you for going through that and laying it out for us. A lot of excitement on that undercard / prelim. Let's jump into the main card. Laron Murphy versus Josh Kulabalo. Tell us a little about Laron Murphy and how you see this one shaking out.
I'm just glad that Laron has been active, because he's someone who has a lot of talent. Like, and I know in his last fight he didn't fight that well, and a lot of people thought that he lost. He kind of like
split decision.
just about edged it. But this is someone who is undefeated for a reason. His first fight in UFC was a draw, probably, which arguably people say that he should have won the fight. Mm-hmm. He has skills everywhere, and his backdoor is crazy, man. Like he literally got shot in the mouth. He got shot in the face with bullets in his mouth, and he like survived. Recently, he had a bad accident, and like he was in a coma, and he was told like you may not even like fight again. And he's come back. He's literally just like a walking miracle in a way. Like it's actually crazy, just if you see just like the shit that he goes through. But he literally, bro, like, and he's crazy good everywhere. Like he has insane power for someone who walks out 145 pounds. But he's faced against someone who's only lost that lightweight against Jalen Turner. So that kind of shows how good Josh is.
Yes.
Like
very dangerous.
Like literally, like this fight is near enough like a pick-em for me. I do have Laron winning, but with this, Laron has to be on. If he goes out fights like the same way he did in March, he will probably lose. But I do back Laron to kind of be like, because especially in the past couple of years, he'll probably fight like once a year or once every like 16 months or so. Mm-hmm. He's now fighting after around 3-4 months now, right? So he's basically been active. He's been active now, and that's going to be good for him. So I kind of feel like he's going to be a lot more sharper. He's kind of like ironed a few things out, and and obviously when you're fighting on home turf, it kind of gives you a boost. So I do have Laron Murphy winning, but it's going to be a close one. This one is going to be a very, very close fight.
Right. Sure. All right, so you're going with Murphy. Okay, let's jump ahead to the next one. We got Herbert versus Ziem at lightweight. What do you got going in that one?
This one is going to be a fun kickboxing fight. You've got it's actually quite funny because prior to the UFC, Ziem was actually finishing everyone. Like he was just putting people away. I think he only had one decision win, whereas when he's come over here, all of his wins have been via points. He's been winning it on the judges. On the judges' scores. But he is also only 26, so he's very young. So he's obviously come here at a very, very young age, and he's learning against high level competition. So, and Jai Herbert's been there, done that. He is a really, really good kickboxer. you saw in his last fights, he's been kind of like grinding it out. You know, he's not just relying on, you know, the fact that I'm a good striker, I'm gonna go out there and throw down with you. I'm gonna find other ways to win. This one's gonna be fun, but I do have Jai Herbert winning because I just feel like experience is going to play a part, and I feel like Jai is savvy enough to kind of like navigate his way through to win.
Okay. Yeah, no, that should be a really close one. If I had to pick, I would go with Ziam. I just think, like you said, him still being young and the way he's coming around after getting submitted by McKinley and coming back and getting a win. I think he's going to keep that rolling and get a win on fight night. Let's talk about Paul Craig moving down to middleweight to fight Andre Muniz. How do you see Paul Craig doing at middleweight? I bet you he lays on the ground less.
Oh, he will, because he's facing against someone who snapped Jacare Souza's arm. You don't really want to go down to the ground with basically someone like that. I do kind of feel worried because obviously Paul Craig is big as it is, and him cutting down another he's a big dude, and you're cutting down 20 pounds to make 185. That might take a toll. But then again, he said, you know, him basically cutting down the weight, it's obviously been fine for him. But I do kind of feel like this fight is going to come down to who is better on the feet, because I'll be honest, if Paul Craig kind of goes out there thinking all I need to do is basically literally go down and pull guard against someone who has a really good top game, like Muniz, you could be asking trouble. I mean, who knows? Paul Craig's BJJ may be good enough to feel like my BJJ is obviously better than yours, but this is literally MMA. I kind of feel like they're probably going to cancel each other out on the ground, and yeah, it's basically just going to be a case of obviously who's better on the feet. I do have Muniz winning. I do hope that I'm wrong, but I do have Muniz winning only because Paul Craig isn't that much confident in his stand up, which is kind of a shame because on the few times when in the fight, when you see him like throw down in fights and he does land, like he's very dangerous, because you can tell someone as big as him, like if he hits you, like it will actually hurt you. But I just feel like he kind of just reverts the type a bit too much.
I mean, he knocked out Hill and he knocked out Rua. I mean, or he put them down.
Yeah,
he just doesn't do it. He just doesn't do it. For that, him laying on his back just pisses me off so much. I just can't. That's why I think Muniz has got the advantage going into the fight, because first time he pulls guard, he's going to go right into it, and he wants to be down there too. Exactly. So I got Muniz winning also, because I just don't see Paul Craig standing with him. We haven't seen him do it in a while.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Nathaniel Wood versus Andre Fila. How do you see this one shaking out?
I like this fight for Wood. You know, this is Wood's third fight at 145 pounds, and he's looked great so far. You know, against Rosa and against Jourdain. He's looked exceptional so far, and this is another fight, you know, in the right direction. Fighting against, you know, a seasoned veteran, you know, at the weight, you know, kind of just build up, like trying to give him like a potential to have like a nice run before we go. You know, if you do come through this, we can give you someone, you know, within the top 15. Wood is lightning quick at. He's quick, like especially against moving up in weight, because he's a bit undersized, but his speed is going to be a huge thing for him, and he kind of literally just overwhelms people, because, you know, literally like leg kicks, he just throws them out lightning quick. He's quick on his feet, he's side to side, his striking's crisp. He has good enough grappling as well, you know. Like he's really able to kind of like he's really good at dictating the pace, and I have a feeling that he's probably going to put on a really good clinic against obviously Fili, and he's if he wins this, you know, considering he's still quite young as well, he has like aspirations, but he is coming off an injury. I think he had like a freak accident where like he literally like sliced his knee. So we don't know how he's gonna look coming out of that. Don't know, get me wrong. Andre Feely has been there, done that, seen it all. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of goes out there and kind of says like, look, you know, I know that you've got this guy fighting in his hometown. He's up and coming. He's moved up to the weight. He's on a nice run, but you know, he just have like the know-how to maybe navigate that across that. But I do feel like Nathaniel Wood's speed is going to give him a lot of problems, and that's going to be the difference maker in this fight.
I like that pick a lot. I got Wood also for similar reasons. Let's jump ahead. Meatball, Molly McCain, back in the ring, or back in the octagon, I mean. Last time we saw her, she got demolished by that elbow. Oh, my God, that was such a fantastic elbow. Stolarenko, Molly McCann versus Stolarenko. How you see this one going down?
I don't feel like this is co-main event worthy, but I know why they're doing it, because, you know, Molly is a fan favorite here, and when she comes out there, like, the crowd is going to go crazy for her. This fight kind of feels like a layup in a sense, because she's facing against someone who has never fought at this weight before, and someone who has issues making weight at the weight class above as well, and who's also, I think in their last 5, I think they're 1-4 as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of feel like this is, I don't want to be mean or anything, because I don't like saying a layup against whenever you're fighting within the UFC, everyone's high level. But there's just different levels to it, you know. I don't want to call it like a layup, but it kind of basically feels like that. Julia is pretty much like very grappling heavy. She is a submission specialist. So her way is, I'm going to keep it on the ground. McCann wants to keep it on the feet. Right. And considering that this is someone who's fought at bigger weight classes and never made this weight before, and has had weight issues before, the fact that she's going to come down to this weight, she could be a little bit compromised or depleted. Is probably a much better word, and that can play into Molly's hands. Who knows? She may be able to use her natural bigger size and strength to kind of like take her down and grind her out, because we know McCann has a huge hole in that. But I just have a feeling that probably, you know, McCann's going to get another early finish and kind of gets that pop from the crowd. So
I think that's what the UFC is banking on, is her getting the knockout and being exciting and things like that. That's why she's in that spot. So I'm guessing she's going to be going all out for a finish. So I'll give it to Molly. I think it should, if Julia takes her down, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think if it stays on the feet, Molly's going to get her out of there in the first round.
Yeah.
Let's get into the main event. Our guy, Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura. It's a tough one to get your throwing your hat back in the ring. We know who you're going to pick, so tell us how Tom wins this fight.
I will say this: Tybura is in great form. Like, he's only lost to Volkov in the last 3 years. You know, like, he's in really good form. He's the most impressive one for me was when he beat Romanov. He literally just out-grappled someone who was seen as a grappling nightmare. Like, a heavyweight.
And that's impressive because he's beaten Craig Hardy. So. No, keep going.
Yeah. But my only thing is like, it's going to depend how does Tom look after coming off that injury after so long, because let's be real, those kind of injuries can really affect you moving forward, you know. If Tom is on, personally for me, Tom is basically too good all round, and I think he's better in all areas that he's on and he's kind of back to what Tom was like, before the injury. Because when you think about it, since he's come to the UFC, he's been near perfect. He's had finishes in all of his fights, apart from his last fight when he got hurt, and he's made it look easy. Like, he literally sub Volkov in the first round like it was nothing. He literally took him down, Kimura'd him like it was nothing. He took out Sergey Spivak, who's fighting against Gon in September, and beat him up like it was nothing. He literally just smoked him. It was impressive, and if Tom is on, Tom should win easily, but form and momentum is very important, and obviously Tybura is coming on a really good wave of things. And look, heavyweights, when you weigh over 250 or 65 pounds, one hit can actually change the fight, because obviously big guys hit hard. All it takes is one. All it takes is one. Anything can happen. But I do have a feeling that obviously Tom wants to go out there and make a statement to be like, okay, cool, I'm next. You've been talking about Sergey a lot. Obviously, Gon's had a lot of hype over the past couple of years. Joel Tamida is another guy that obviously you guys have been talking about. But in the words of Wood Jones, you must have forgot, I'm still here, and I'm that guy. I'm gonna be the next guy who's gonna go out there and and be that next great heavyweight. I'm the one, after when John Jones and Stipe fight, I should be the one, going out there for the belt and stuff like. But like, as crazy as that sounds, that kind of sounds like the mindset that obviously all of these guys should have.
Oh, it's got to be the mindset.
Yeah, it's got to be the mindset. And I have a feeling that obviously Tom is going to go out there and just kind of blow Tybura away. I have him winning within the second round, but that is very dependent on if obviously Tom is basically the Tom that obviously so far that basically we have seen, because I have like, personally, for me as a big fan of him, he has everything to go all the way. He has everything in his locker: striking, movement, grappling, all of that. So I do favor him to win, but again, Tybura is very live in this fight. Yeah. He's very live in this fight, so
it's gonna. Yeah, no, that was great. I got Tom getting him out of there by KO/TKO in round 2. I think we give Tom. I think it's fair to give Tom a round of feeling out, moving around, testing that knee, measuring Tybura, because he's good. Tybura is good enough to win this fight. I think there's going to be that feeling out process in round 1, and I think Tom really gets going in round 2, and hopefully we see him back in form, because, like you said, he is one of the best heavyweights in the world. He is a title contender, and win against Tybura puts him right back in that conversation where he deserves to be. So yeah, I got Tom getting him out of there in the second round. So yeah, guys, that's our Fight Night London coverage. Look forward to that this weekend. AJ, you got anything else for us before we get out of here?
Yes, one thing. I know that obviously I'm going to talk about one other thing probably next week. This is an MMA related, but we got the big fight next weekend. We've got Errol Spence against obviously Terence Crawford, undisputed worldweight title fight. But next Tuesday in Japan, we've got Inoue Inoue fighting against Stephen Fulton. Inoue is one of the best pound for pound boxers in basically out there. If you ever read the manga or watched the anime Hajime no Ippo, Inoue is basically like Ippo. Like, he has crazy power for someone that small, technically sound. Like, he's literally like a joy to watch. For someone who's a big box fan of like of me, he's literally one of those like special like one-on-one guys. He's fighting on Tuesday in Japan. It'd be probably, for people who are over in the States, it's going to be very, very early. I think it's 11 a.m. my time. So it's going to be very early over there. But, if you happen to be quite, I don't know if you're going to be at work in the morning or have time to kind of like watch it on your phone.
Tuesday's so weird. I get it, but Tuesday's such a weird.
Yeah, it's actually very common over there. They have like world title fights in like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday over there.
It's just a crazy schedule. That's just different over there. But yeah, I get you. Keep going.
But yeah, like and also Stephen Fulton is also undefeated. Like he is like a great champion. Like he's very elite. He is literally elite of the elite. And obviously the new weight is moving up in weight, and he wants to be if he wins this, he'll be a full weight class world champion, which is crazy to me. And this fight is going to be great because you got someone like Fulton who's very technically slick and sound, and you got a new way who is basically not only technically gifted, but he has inhuman power. Like basically, like for someone who's going to fight at 122 pounds, for someone who can like hit the way he does, absolutely like incredible. And if he goes out there and wins, he could literally be like the next Manny Pacquiao. Like he has literally that much potential. So I'll definitely will say, for anyone who's just a fan of like combat sports, if you're able to watch that next week or watch it online afterwards or see it on Twitter and the viral moments that may happen from that, therefore try time to check out a new way against Stephen Fulton, because that one right there is going to be one of the best fights of the year.
For sure. Question for you. Is Tyson Fury Takamura then?
No, because Tyson Fury doesn't really fight a lot of good opponents most of the time.
The way they act is fun. It's somewhat similar.
But, in a way. Actually, in a way, yeah, because they're both kind of like
in their personalities more than the actual fighting.
Yeah. Actually, no, fighting, yeah, in a way.
I mean, they're power guys. I mean, it's different haircuts.
No, one has none, one has a pompadour. Yeah.
That's the main difference. All right, AJ. That's all for us this week. Obviously, we will be back next week. Pay-per-views coming up very quickly.
Big card.
Do not forget, guys, I was first. Izzy Duplessis, UFC 300, co-main event before Musk and Zuckerberg.
And I was gonna piggyback.
Like and subs.
Like and subs. But actually, I would actually leave my 300 take a bit later on, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a future episode. So if anyone else there wants to know why I'm keeping it secret, you just gotta keep on watching.
I love that tease. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. HOA MMA out.